week, and we talk about different topics that will help you if you have a podcast and a business and you want to use your podcast to grow your business, get leads, clients, and opportunities. Today, we're talking about building your podcast audience from your current platforms or your current attention. And I think you're going to get a lot out of this session. But before that, here's a message from our sponsors who, by the way, are No Excuses Personal Training. I've been using Workout, WRKOUT, for a few months now to get personalized training in my living room, actually, or bedroom, depending on which is cleaner. So if you want a free trial, a free session on me, and 25% off your next purchase, go to workout.com, tell them Ronsley sent you, and they will help you out. But here is Workout.
Hi, Penny. How are you?
Hey, Kelsey. Great. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Workout. I'm super excited to take you through your first session. All right, Penny, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, so that was Workout. And again, just a reminder that if you want a free personalized session, go to Workout, tell them Ronsley sent you, and they'll give you a really, really good deal. I'm joined by the legend that is James Whitaker. James, how are you?
I'm good, Mr. Vaz. How are you, buddy? You know what? That always gets me so motivated and fired up, the workout trailer. I feel like I could drop and give at least 20 push-ups right now.
Well, you definitely need to get your workout sorted. So go tell Curtis that Ronsley sent you. I'm sure that he will get you to do more than 20 push-ups, because I was meant to do 20 the other day, and I got pushed to doing more than that. And I feel stronger, I feel. But everyone watching, if you have a question on podcasting for business, mention that in the comments. We want to take care of that. Especially if you've got a podcast for business and you're looking to get that sorted. So today we're talking about building a podcast audience from your existing attention. And I suppose the big mistake that most people make are like going for Facebook ads straight away without sorting out their organic traction. James, I'm sure you have something to say before we get into the meat and potatoes of this session.
Absolutely. There are the more we do these sessions, the more I realize how treacherous a lot of these routes are. They can be very, very expensive if you don't have the right plan and the right mentorship to be able to grow your business using a podcast. So make sure you're not out there making some of these rookie mistakes that cost a lot of money. Before we dive into all the good stuff, a reminder, we've got our 5-day challenge starting next week. This is the very first time ever that we have run this 5-day challenge. It's totally free. We're giving you access to the same platform that we use with our clients. We're giving you access to a whole bunch of tools and templates and other amazing things that you can use to level up your business and make your podcast amazing. And look, save a whole amount of time in the process. If you would like to join our 5-day challenge, comment challenge below, and the team will reach out and give you a link on where you can do that. We'll be doing live exclusive trainings in that group, as well as a whole bunch of recorded content that you can action in real time. Ron's, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when it comes to social media and their attention platforms is that they invest in content promotion before content creation. Now, anyone who's had a podcast for a while should recognize and give themselves a big pat on the back that you have banks. You have an entire bank of content that you can use to repurpose in so many different which ways. But if you're going straight into the promotion game, especially at the moment with all of the changes of Facebook ads, and I mean, look at what happened to the Facebook share price last week after their quarterly earnings report. For the first time in history, their monthly active users reduced. Although one thing about that, and I might be mentioning this a little bit too early in the piece, Zuckerberg reiterated his focus on using Reels. So people out there who want to use your podcast to grow and get some attention for your business more broadly, something like Instagram Reels is going to be a good opportunity. We're going to dive a little bit more into some of the attention platforms that will be a good fit for you. And as Ronsley said, if you have a comment, or a question, let us know below. If something's landing for you, let us know in the comments. And really above all else, we just want to make sure that if you have a question or something to help with in your business or your podcast, we get an opportunity to be able to do that. It's the reason that we run these free trainings. So drop a comment and let us know.
Yeah, the last thing we want to do is for you to have your message go to the wrong people, right? You don't want to have your message that's so crafted and you care so much about to go to the wrong people who don't really care about that message. The most engaging story told to the wrong audience is wasted effort. And again, it's not your fault because there's so many different social media platforms. Which one do you use? Do you use Instagram? Do you use LinkedIn? Do you use Facebook? Do you pay for ads? And there's also so many different types of content. There's blogs, there's emails, there's video, there's audio, obviously, there's images. And what we also see from other people is the same message being duplicated multiple times. This video, for example, is going to Twitter, to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to Facebook, and it's the same. And the reason it is video, so it can go to that. But when you repurpose this into something else, it has to be platform specific. So we see this a lot where people start a podcast and start running ads, which is fine if you know your audience and you know who you're targeting, and you've already built up organic traffic and organic messaging to those people, and they click with that messaging. That's when you can go, okay, I understand how this is going to go down. I understand who my people are. I understand the message that resonates with them. And as a result, I can then create an ad that will make sense. Otherwise, you're wasting money trying to figure out whether the actual message lands.
Yeah, there have been people, Rons, who have been able to gain some traction on emerging apps like TikTok. I suppose TikTok is not so much an emerging app anymore because it's dominating everything in its path at the moment in pretty much every industry that you can think of. But there are business owners out there who are getting views. They're getting traction on Reels and TikTok, but they're not converting those Reels into any type of revenue for their business. So if you're doing a good job of putting the content out there, make sure that you've got the rest of the machine in place to be able to let people know who you serve and how you serve them. Make sure you're clear on the next logical step that you can provide for your audience and let them know that it's possible for them to go on that journey with you. If you haven't got those other things in place and you're giving yourself a pat on the back because, I got 1,000 views or 10,000 views, it's the wrong metric to be thinking about in terms of income and impact. We want to make sure that you can serve people and give them the transformation that they really need, which comes when you start having one-on-one conversations with people about their most urgent needs and what it is that they want. When you can start to go through a lot of the services that you provide and mention the one that is the best fit for them. And then they become raving fans, not of your channel, but of your business. So that's how you move someone from perfect stranger through to high ticket client and someone who refers a bunch of business your way. But importantly, that machine, that whole cycle, that only works if you deliver a ton of value at every step along the process. If you're creating content that sucks and it's boring, if you're not showing people the next logical step, and if you're not delivering the service and the transformation that you say you would, then it's going to fall down at each little piece of that, and you're not going to be able to grow your business.
And again, to your point, we've done a couple of trainings before, so go back and check them out. The first one was on how to create a podcast that's unique to you and stands out in your industry. The second one is how to find your audience and make something for the people that you care about. So this is the third one in the series. And what we really want to happen for you in this session is to build on what you have and repurpose with purpose, right? My mic fell down, if you could hear that. And what that does for you, it gives you a bunch of superpowers. This first superpower it gives you is focus. because then you don't have to worry about things that you don't really need to worry about. And that tends to happen in business a lot. We got shiny ball syndrome, and at least I have shiny ball syndrome. Maybe it's called shiny object syndrome in most cases. But I think what happens is that we kind of look at everything that's happening and go, like TikTok, oh my God, I got to be on TikTok. So when you build on what you have and you do this step correctly, you have focus. The second thing you have is a clear strategy and the right audience to go after, which is super important so that you don't stray from your plan and your path. And the third thing is, this is probably really important, it is to scale. So you have a base from which to build your paid strategy from. Those are three superpowers that this kind of training gives you, and it's really important. I think focus is underrated in general, and having the right focus, these first three trainings is probably key for you to build the focus across your podcast and across your business.
I was about to mention focus there, Ron. It's a really important point, because if you look at all the different social media platforms that have emerged over the last 7 or 8 years, if you had have just gone from, oh wow, I've got YouTube, this thing's great, and oh wow, there's this photo app, I'm going to go and get on Instagram, and then oh, Facebook's going global. Let's go onto Facebook, and then Snapchat, and then TikTok, all of these different and Clubhouse. If you just kept skipping between these different things, then you're not going to be able to have that traction. I mean, yeah, you can dabble in these things. And for people, if you feel like your audience is on there and you're able to serve them really well through your content, then fantastic, do that. But make sure you're dominating on at least one of these platforms. Think about, it's a bit like learning any skill. Maybe you wanted to take up boxing or cooking or some type of martial art or anything. If you went and did it for about a month, and then a few years later you'd be like, oh, what would happen if I actually stuck to that? What would happen if I was consistent on that platform and took everything that I could do to get really smart about that platform and see what the best performing people are doing, and then having that journey of being able to build your tribe on that platform? You're going to get some really great results on that. Something like YouTube, I believe it's Google and YouTube are the two largest search engines in the world, obviously part of the same company too. So they're platforms that can be very worthwhile for you, making sure that you rank well on both of those platforms, and you can use all of your content to be able to do it. So don't get that shiny ball syndrome that Ronsley had mentioned there and go, wow, I'm now onto this new thing and onto the new thing. Make sure you're starting to build your tribe on one platform where you can bring them into the conversation to start to serve them and give them transformations, and be able to make your impact that way.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter how many likes and that kind of stuff you get at the start, especially because those are just vanity metrics. But I have a little framework so that you understand the different types of value you can provide, or the attention you can provide your clients. And this is the kind of content you got to create when you are putting stuff out there, so that when you are trying to come up with content to engage your audience, you do it in the right way. The first thing you got to look at is what you've done. What is the experience you have that you can talk about? What are the reps that you have done? What are the things that make you cool? So for me, I've done over 1,400 interviews. I have helped over 1,000 businesses and more launch a podcast for their business. So those are things that I want to mention. Those are my experiences in and the reps that I have done to kind of like build my credibility, so to speak. The next step from there is the clients. Who are your regulars? Who have you helped? Who can people see themselves as? Who can they look at and go, I'm that person, I want to be that. So for me, I've helped actors, politicians, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and different kinds of service-based businesses, help them launch a podcast for their business and grow that using that podcast, leads, opportunities, clients. So giving you a perspective on what works. So experience first, then clients, and then results. Results are really, really important. Like, what have you achieved? What are the rewards that you've gotten? Like for me, it's been Entrepreneur of the Year a couple of times in Brisbane. My TEDx talk got made a TED Talk, which is quite unusual, actually. It doesn't really happen that often. And even though people use TEDx and TED interchangeably, there's a big difference between a TEDx talk and a TED Talk. But being a TEDx talk being made a TED Talk was a big achievement for me because there's no real path or method to getting that done. And also another reward was that Amplify the agency became a $1 million company in 9 months, which is money in the bank. It's a reward. It's a result that I have achieved. And finally, value. It's reputation, what you've delivered. This is what people talk about you when you're not in the room. This is something you can't really impact necessarily. You can impact from the bottom three, from your experience, your clients, and your results. But your value and your reputation of what you've delivered comes from the market, and it is what the market says about you when you're not in the room. And why that is really important, why that is the tip of the attention mountain, is because today everyone talks case studies, everyone builds themselves up, everyone has content that tells you that they have delivered X and Y and Z. But the real attention that you will get is when you're not in the room and people talk about the reputation for about what you've delivered. So when you're thinking about the attention that you get from your current platforms right now, use this attention mountain to start getting the attention from the people that already care about what you do. James?
Yeah, Ron, that's amazing. For people who haven't used that framework, go and make sure that you've got a copy of that. You can screenshot it, do whatever you got to do to make sure that you're using that. It's a phenomenal reference tool. I can see a comment in there for people who don't know where to begin with this. Maybe that's because you're very early on in your business. I would make sure that you spend a bit of time developing some type of specialized knowledge, because the more value you have to give, or the more valuable you are, the more value you have to give. So take the time to develop that specialized knowledge. The only way to do that is to spend the time educating yourself. There are so many ways to do that right now very, very quickly. Just allocate the time. And then apart from that, there's no substitute to just getting your hands dirty by serving people. What are their problems? What are you doing to get clear on what they need? And what are you doing to make sure that the solution you're offering is chock full of value so they can't say no? It's irresistible for them to be able to do that. So get your hands dirty, serve some clients, and that's how you can start implementing these things into what Ronsley has just spoken about.
And just because you've been watching all this while, I think it's really important to show you what the next steps are and how to implement this in your business. And if you're kind of like going, well, to answer that question, how do you get started? The first thing that you got to do is understand that there's content for different audiences, and we mentioned that in the last training. So if you go back and check that out, we spoke about know, like, and trust. We spoke about cold, warm, and hot. So you really got to understand that your audience comes from a cold, hot, cold, warm, and hot. So the cold audience doesn't know who you are. They're just kind of like finding out who you are. The warm audience kind of knows who you are, but they don't know if they like you yet. And the hot audience, they know and they like you, and they don't know whether they trust you yet. So the different content that you create has to be different for the different types of audiences. That is the first thing. The second thing is to start with what you already have. The last thing you want to do in this situation is actually start on a new platform and have a new podcast and have a new business at the same time. So hopefully you already have a business and you've started a podcast, and then you're going to use the current attention that you have, not create something new to start off with. The third thing, which probably is most important to actually make this thing come together, is have a client pathway. So if when you get the right attention and you take people along this journey and they go from cold to warm to hot, you have a client pathway that you can take these hot prospects into your business. Because a lot of us, when we start, we don't have that client pathway. And what lands up happening is that we say things like, oh, I can sell for others, but I can't sell for myself, and other really crazy excuses. I just don't know how to sell. I don't like selling. And it's not really about selling. It's more about transformation and transforming people. So if you're listening and watching this, we have a whole training that goes on for like 2 hours to actually help you use the attention platforms you currently have with the podcast and the business that you currently have to actually get traction and results. And if you want that, say training below, and our team will get you more details on that. Before we wind up, final thoughts from my man, James.
Love it, Ron. So I think we've covered it pretty extensively for this one today. Just a final reminder about the 5-day challenge kicking off next week. Here are the things that we're going to go through. We're going to show you how to find what your truth is and connect that to your business. We're going to figure out who your perfect audience is. We're going to show you how to produce better podcast episodes faster. We're going to show you how to craft an enticing offer for your ideal client. And we're going to share with you the proven method to generate sales. You will be able to sign clients to your business using the things that we're going to go through in this free 5-day challenge. So if you haven't joined us and reserved your place for that yet, it's totally free. Comment challenge below. We've got a whole bunch of exclusive trainings just for that group, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah, and again, if you have a question, you agree, disagree with anything we said, mention that in the comments. We want to open up a conversation. If we've missed something, you got a question, or you have any sort of thoughts and ideas on what we've just spoken about, use the comments to let us know, because we want to open up the conversation and add to the training that we, by no means do we think that we know it all. If you want to listen to a really good episode, go to Should I Start a Podcast? There's an episode called Upgrading Your Podcast Listeners into Clients. I think for someone that has watched this video, that would be a super valuable episode to listen to. And again, if you're wondering, how do I get fit as a business owner, as a podcaster, go to workout.com. Tell them Ronsley sent you, and they'll give you a free session along with a 25% discount. So don't make sure that you use that and go and check them out. That's Workout, and we're going to wind up with a video from them.
Hi, Penny. How are you?
Hey, Kelsey. Great. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Workout. I'm super excited to take you through your first session. All right, Penny, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.